Happy Halloween, everybody.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah, it's that time of the month again, isn't it? Bishop, since I dragged you along, you want to tell them what we just got done watching?
Shin Godzilla.
Or, as the original American title goes, Godzilla Resurgence. Now, for anybody who's a little bit confused because of the last time they did a Godzilla movie here in the States, which was 2 years ago, with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson,
which I thought was pretty good.
It was okay. It was a better attempt than the '98 film.
Yeah, I liked
it. This film is the first one to be produced from Japan since 2004. It's the first one to use music cues from 1954's film, and it's the first time since 2000 since a Japanese Godzilla film has been in the States. Although I heard for a limited time that Final Wars was here for about maybe a week and a half at AMC Select Theaters. So that being said, I think what we'll do is we'll start with a review part of it. We'll go into a rant part, and then we'll go into spoilers. So the second I think we should go review, spoiler, and then rant, because I'm sure if I'm going to be ranting about it, I'm going to be ranting about about spoilers. So that being said, what did you think? I know, you're not really that into Godzilla as much as I am, but from an outsider's perspective on a Japanese film.
Well, I watch anime a lot.
Okay.
Of anime, like a lot of anime. And I'm pretty sure if I had my way, this room would be filled with anime posters or antique dolls. So, moving on from that. Keeping up with the subtitles was pretty much easy for me. I already knew what they were talking about. But most of the science stuff kind of grabbed my attention because I'm a huge nerd.
I felt like with the subtitles, though, it was constant looking up and down. It drags away from the stuff, but if you can read it fast enough, then you can catch up with what the actions are on the screen. But the reason, I guess, and I never really thought about it until I watched this film. Usually when I'm watching a Godzilla movie, it's all dubbed. I very rarely watch one with in Japanese with English subtitles. So that being said, now that I had to read my way through the movie, I realized that kind of sort of, for me at least, keeping up with the aspect of the plot points, it's very difficult. It's challenging for me in the sense because, usually when it's in English, it's easier to understand and keep up with everybody and know who's who and who's here and whatever the case may be, especially with the older ones. But this being said, it was a little bit harder for me to follow who the characters were if they weren't on screen for more than 5 seconds apiece. So, yeah, in that aspect, the subtitles weren't, the biggest issue, I don't think. Now, as far as I was concerned, Godzilla has probably the same amount of screen time as the counterpart in the 2014 Bryan Cranston movie. They probably both share about 11 minutes total of screen time. But this film is smart in the sense that it spreads it out over a course of the film rather than just having it as a collective at the very last 45 minutes of the film.
How they have the issues with Godzilla. It's a freeze frame. And he's like, okay, he'll recharge in 10 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. But really at 10 minutes it's he'll recharge in about 2-3 days maybe?
Yeah, pretty much within that time span that he recharges. It's just, the rest of it is just military, just figuring out what they want to do.
Scientific babble.
And then I think maybe once or twice in there they show a key frame of Godzilla frozen or a shot where his tail cracks, and that's about it.
Now, the last bit I didn't really understand. I thought you said it was something about him having bones or something like that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm gonna save that for the spoiler section just in case, because I'm gonna go into really big depth on it.
I was just saying that I didn't understand it, but okay.
Right. Yeah. Wait, you mean the bones?
Well, there was parts sticking out, and I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Is that the other ones that are blah blah blah, or
at the very end of the film?
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, we'll go into spoilers on that because I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it. But no, that being said, yeah, I thought it was really well done and you can't really talk about this film without spoiling it because let's face it, it's been out long enough, and everybody's pretty much already seen pieces of it on the internet. But that before we actually get into the spoilers, I want to point out, yeah, I like this one in the sense that he was very unpredictable. This Godzilla is very unpredictable. It's one of those things you don't know what to expect when he pops up on the screen.
He saved his moves until he needed them the most.
Mm-hmm. Basically. But yeah, with the older films, you know, he flies, he talks, he becomes a magnet. He goes to outer space. He fights King Ghidorah on the planet Venus. I like it. It was nice to see a Godzilla movie that just stays with the idea. Here's a monster. How do we get rid of it? Instead of doing all this this really goofy, out of tone, like shipping them off to Venus or dealing with an alien invasion every other movie. It was nice to just have that basic monster appears in Tokyo. How the heck do we get rid of it?
It's so big, we can't touch it. And like most of the scenes are women, and he goes, "It's so big," and the woman's like, "Oh, no, okay."
Which okay, and just for that aspect, I'm sorry. What would happen if you, I get it, a bunch of the older Godzilla or for that matter monster movies, take the giant claw for instance. That thing just looks goofy as hell, or anything out of the 50s. But imagine if you really did see a giant monster. You wouldn't laugh at it. You would kind of just be freaked out by it.
Honestly, throughout the whole movie, through most of the Godzilla epicness scenes, you hear the music pick up, and the music is so epic that goes along with it. You're sitting there thinking, I want to fight Godzilla. I want to fight Godzilla.
Speaking of the music,
I will go Super Saiyan in this bitch, and I will fight Godzilla.
Speaking of the music, like I said before, the 54, the black and white film, there were I was listening to it, and I picked out certain music from Godzilla King of the Monsters, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. They had a lot of pitch shifts, and even Godzilla's roar was from 54, and I think the earliest from King Kong vs. Godzilla, so a lot of it was recycled. Nothing was redone, but if Funimation decides that they want to do an audio redux, and if they want to change the roar on their own, bring it on, whatever.
Also, when you're in a movie theater as quiet as I was, maybe 15 people sitting in there, when he roars, you can hear the vibrations and feel it against your body, and it's oh my god.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, the thing I have to say about that, or something else, is that, when the trailers were on, Jayme was looking at the anime I don't see this shit. Because they were saying that they were putting anime movies in theaters now, and that's pretty cool. You don't have to go online for it anymore.
Right.
But the one that caught me was One Piece. That's my show. I love Luffy. Yeah. I love Nico Robin even better because she's hot. She wouldn't give me a chance though. Because
speaking of trailers, before I get into spoilers again, you already know it's coming.
Mostly Jayme, showed the trailer for his movie, Black Friday.
Well, for our movie, Black Friday.
Black Friday.
The trailer premiered in our hometown at Mindframe Theaters in Dubuque with the very first showing of Godzilla. There were a little bit of technical difficulties with it.
But it was shown.
It was shown, and I think, as much as I was a little, I was a little embarrassed because of the technical difficulties, I think now that I go back and think about it, I'm actually glad that it did happen because I'm sure that caught their attention more than anything else because the guy stopped the rotation, put in the trailer, and the computer screen showed up, and a lot of people were like, "What's going on?" Well, that's what they're going to remember. Now they're going to see that trailer. They're going to know that was filmed in Dubuque here, and they're probably going to come see it later.
But it wasn't your fault, though. Dude should have left it how it was. And if you looked at it, you could have seen, okay, the trailer's over, it started again, blah, blah, blah.
Right. But it's okay. It's okay. The guy, like I said, the guys were kind enough to do it, and, I'm glad that the trailer got in. And so now we have a little bit more promotion for Black Friday, and I'm very happy that Mindframe Theaters in Dubuque, Iowa was very kind enough to do that, so thank you.
And if you're a huge movie buff and you love movies and you happen to be in the Dubuque area, go to Mindframe. It's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
They have a fucking cafe there.
They do.
Dude, they give you a beer bucket for $12. 8 beers, sit in the movie theater, get drunk, do what you want, man. Yeah.
Now you ready for spoilers?
Kind of sad that I didn't have $8. You could have got me a beer bucket.
Yeah, you should have.
I would have enjoyed myself all over the place.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
Ready for spoilers?
Do it.
1, 2, 3.
The Kamehameha. If you're familiar with a Kamehameha, if you're familiar with anything DBZ, you will go see Shin Godzilla. Because his Kamehameha blast was pretty fucking epic.
What he means by the Kamehameha is Godzilla has a new breathing technique now.
He compresses the fire in a way to where it reflects light and heat, basically like a welding torch, and he uses that welding torch like breath to slice through half the city. That was epic.
Godzilla now, in this one, throughout the movie, he evolves over time. So the very first time you see Godzilla, he's like, and I know Bishop's laughing because
No, I'm not. I wasn't laughing. It was. I was laughing at the part where he was on land, just crawling like a little baby chicken.
I thought you were laughing because you heard me just go, what?
He was like a baby chicken in an embryo, or like an undone chicken, and he was just crawling on the ground like this.
He didn't even have any arms until he mutated
arms.
to the second form.
And when he mutated, he had like little stubbins. They were like T-Rex arms.
Well, okay, so with this Godzilla, he's a mixture of, from what I understand, a shark, a whale, eels, a snake, just any subterranean or reptilian animal. He's kind of a mixture of everything. As a matter of fact, I hear that the tip of his tail is actually built out of a whale skeleton. So that being said, Godzilla in this one is just a hybrid of everything. And when he mutates, his like the regular Godzilla, his heart is a nuclear reactor. So every time he goes into what they call a red zone, he has to go back into the ocean and cool down. Otherwise, he's kind of... Think of, what's that one? Where is it? Yep. Godzilla vs. Destroyer, where they actually have to freeze him in order to keep his body temperature down. Otherwise, he blows up the world. It's kind of, in a sense, they did the Godzilla vs. Destroyer route, but not entirely. So there's one part where they're bombing him with missiles, and the missiles just keep bouncing off of him like little pebbles. It's just like pew 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 pew.
The missiles too, like the missiles, they kind of bing. It was fun.
Which I was very happy about with that scene, because the music, just you feel a sheer sense of dread and just hopelessness, which is what Godzilla was originally supposed to represent, was just dread and hopelessness. And I thought it was really very cool that they brought that back from the 50 movie. So the U.S. bombs him. The U.S. bombs him, gets a missile into his back.
Oh yeah.
And they make him, it tears him up. Well, he regenerates, his mouth opens up, everybody knows what's coming, except it's a purple flame, it's a purple, like, inner flame. His eye closes, because it's like a reflective, secure piece on his eye. Madden 50.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Oh no. Go away.
So his eye closes, and then he lets out this black sort of it looks, in a sense, it's kind of like a gasoline charge. It vaporizes throughout the entire city, scales everything, probably a diameter of about probably 25-30 miles around him. And then he spits out a fire, everything catches, and then next he shoots out a purple laser.
The scene that you guys are most looking forward to will be that first chance he gets to shoot off his laser beam.
Yeah, because that thing stretches about, like, that thing's going at about 115 miles per hour, stretching on a 15-mile radius.
Oh, look, he's firing his laser!
Now, the thing that I was totally shocked by was his lower jaw splits open, and then he shoots lasers out his spines. I've never seen... like nobody would ever like. That's what I meant when I said Godzilla's very unpredictable in this film. He shoots lasers out of his spines. He shoots lasers out of his tail, and then at the very end of the film, they shove these containers into his mouth of collagen to freeze him, like at the very end of Destroyer. Well, I think about halfway through they freeze him, but yeah, they freeze him up, and then they're talking about if he ever comes back, the U.S. is going to use the nuclear bombs on him. Well, the very last shot of the film shows humanoid Godzilla's growing out of his tail, plus a giant face on his tail too.
Now, the part that I found funny, like the complete comedy of the whole movie, is when he used his tail for a laser beam. He just...
Oh my god.
I was like...
I lost it when I saw that. I was
like, okay.
I've it.
I've seen enough. I'm going home.
I lost it when I saw that.
Now, another thing I don't get is how his tail was able to move so, wobbly, like you see a dog in the park and his tail is just going like that. You see the same thing in Godzilla, and you wonder, and you see all these past movies, Godzilla's tail barely moves, maybe even once or twice during the whole movie.
Which, by the way, that can be explained. I'm gonna turn down the TV just a little bit.
I need background music for this. This is epic, Jayme.
All right, but yeah, no, it's with Godzilla in this one, he's 100% CGI character.
And they pull it off. It works.
It genuinely looks like somebody in a... There were times in the movie I would have been fooled. It looks like a genuine guy in a suit. Now, this is me personally. Japan, this is one of their first... as far as I know, this is one of their first attempts at CGI.
They're fucking stepping their game up.
And they look better than the U.S.'s CGI does, because it fooled me. It looked like some guy in a suit. And it was 100% computer-generated imagery.
Now,
my mind was blown. Go ahead.
Now, from what I gathered, some people were saying, is that they wanted to use Godzilla to enhance humans. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's they want to use Godzilla as a source for human
human evolution.
Yeah, that's a cool concept and all, but we'd be terrible people.
Oh, I'm sure we would.
We'd be horrible people.
Because I'm trying to figure out why even have a shot at the very end of the movie with humanoid Godzilla's growing out of his tail.
Oh, you know what that's going to be about?
I don't know why.
The guy. It's going to be the Godzilla that was the guy. I don't want to see that ever again. It's going to be the guy.
Okay, it will probably, if they even decide to make a sequel, and that does happen, it will be the Matthew Broderick film done right.
That's his name. Yes, Matthew Broderick.
That would be not the homage to Jurassic Park, but an actual attempt at having something like that happen.
It'd be Matthew Broderick.
Oh my god, I don't even want to think about that.
That was my first Godzilla movie, and I was like, why am I watching this?
That movie was just pure popcorn entertainment, and that's all it was. It's just one action piece after the next.
It was alright.
I've stated a million times before, getting off subject here, I've stated a million times before, I don't mind the Matthew Broderick film. I just don't like the fact that none of the characteristic trademarks of Godzilla appear in the film. He doesn't breathe fire, he's not indestructible. If they would have had that, I would have loved the film. But it just bears the name Godzilla, and it's not supposed to. So, that being said, reading my way through the film, that was fine.
I'm just black, dude.
Yes, you are.
Shut up, Jim.
But no, yeah, reading my way through the film, that was 100% fine. There were times in the film that even, they had me laughing.
Yeah, there was bits of comedy in it, which I thought was pretty cool.
There was, the first joke, because I was sitting with a friend of mine who runs a film initiative here, and, it takes a lot to get her to laugh at something, especially if it's a Godzilla movie. And the first line that I remember she was laughing at was, "Oh yeah, we've got our top biologists on working on this, theorizing what this creature is exactly, all three of them." And then it just shows the three guys in the room, and she was just cracking up.
They're old, your typical Mr. Miyagi lookalikes.
I think the only time the whole audience laughed though was the guy just rolling back in his chair going, yes,
Oh yeah,
And that was like it.
He was freaking out.
The guy was freaking out on his computer. Everybody just laughed in the audience.
He's like, oh. I was like, oh, calm down. Explain.
Speaking of audience, it had a really good turnout for a Japanese film. I thought it did.
Not bad, actually.
I thought it had a really good turnout because I remember when Godzilla 2000 came out, and nobody went to see that. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm glad I went to see it. I'm glad it was worth the wait. I'm a little. Here comes the rant part. It's coming. You know it is. I'm a little upset that it's only lasting until like the next 7 days, and then it'll be pulled out. So I'm hoping it'll get a DVD release or Blu-ray release like very soon, like January, February, something like that. I'm hoping it comes.
Probably on eBay though.
Yeah, I'm sure because I always assumed that this was going to be the most torrented. I'm glad that it even got a U.S. release period before it even went. Because I remember New World Cinema stepped in, not New World Pictures, New World Cinema, this little hoser, Yag or whatever, and they said, oh, we're going to distribute the film. No, you're a liar, you're a freaking liar, you know you lied, and you're not fooling us. Funimation stepped in and saved your ass. Fuck you, New World Cinema. That being said,
cowboy, baby.
That being said, I thought it was really good. This was one of the films I was looking forward to pretty much the majority since June of this year. Ever since I found out that it was being filmed in June. And did you even know that?
What?
That it was filmed in June.
So about what, 5-6 months?
Yeah, it was completed in 5-6 months.
You step your game up, Jim.
Wow. This film, if I'm not mistaken, started somewhere in February. And then filming. No, wait. No, okay. I'm wrong. No, filming started last. I think the writing process was last summer, and then it was filming in I think it was from September till October, and it hit theaters in July of this year. That was the quickest production I've ever seen in my life on anything. And it kind of shows in the film too, because there's a lot of just quick editing, and there are people speaking English in the film, and that's cool. But yeah, it's all quick editing, and there's very little music to it or sound effects, and I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that. But I was appreciative of the music and they played it at the right times too. When Godzilla shows up, his theme song shows up. When Godzilla evolves, another piece of his theme song shows up.
I don't know what the words are.
Yeah, but you got it down pretty good. So that being said, yeah. Any other thoughts? Anything else you want to let them know?
The Kamehameha. No, I'm kidding.
You really are up on the
No,
Kamehameha.
but still, that, in my opinion, was the best scene of the entire movie. When you see him shooting flames from his mouth, it's like a rocket going up, because he's laying down at the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, whoa, and his rocket's up to stand up, and then the flame pinches off slowly. It's like, mm-hmm. And when it's a needle point, it just, it's like you focus, you know how you got those little things in high school, those triangle glass things? Right. You shoot a light into it, and then rainbow comes out the other side. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those, except for there's no triangle glass tube, and there's no light. It's just fire being refocused into a laser. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. I thought it was awesome.
That's science. I love science.
Well, considering he was made up from a bunch of organisms, I'm sure, somewhere in there, scientifically speaking, it could be accurate.
I'm sure he loves science too.
That being said, yeah, I thought it was great.
I thought it was okay.
You thought it was okay. We went with a couple friends, and that's how you go see these movies, with a couple friends. It's not Avengers style, action packed. We had another friend who went with us, and he was like, "Oh, well, there wasn't enough action, so it was just okay." And I'm like, "You don't go to see films like these foreign films. You don't go to see them." I warned him pre-time. I said, it's going to be in English subtitles. There's going to be very little action, but when Godzilla shows up and does what he does, that's when it shines.
And the way they took him out was pretty creative too. The whole planning process was pretty unique.
That's the first time. That's the first time I've ever seen them shove nitrogen tubes down his throat. Yeah. I was like, wow. I
mean, it would have been a lot simpler if they just made liquid nitrogen. That shit's absolute zero. Like nothing can go in there. So if they put it down his throat, he probably would have froze over from the mouse down from the beginning anyway. So but still, his temperature is like super hot, so it probably might have done anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was hilarious that he had to like briefly just take time out, like for what was it?
He
like
took time out for like
20 days or something.
Yeah.
It's like 20 days.
Yeah. He was like, you know what? You guys are fucking assholes. I'm gonna sit here, recharge, and I'll come at you later. I was like, oh shit. Well, I guess we better hurry the fuck up.
Because they had like I think they did it in like 12 days.
Yeah.
They figured out how to.
On the last, they had less than an hour to do that, and they got it done.
They had
cool.
well, the reason they had less than an hour was because the U.S. decided that they were going to step in, and then they were just going to use nuclear warheads on them. And Japan's like, nope, we don't want another like World War III radiation
Hiroshima type thing.
Hiroshima. And yeah, that would have just been a bad case.
They put history in it too, which you don't see that in a lot of movies. Like you have like X-Men 1, 2, and 3. They have history in those, but just
I like how they reference him as both Gojira and Godzilla.
Yeah.
I like that
What
aspect.
Gojira means God something.
Gojira is a combination of gorilla and whale.
No, the meaning of the word.
Yeah.
They said it was God is something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the actual meaning of Gojira is a combination of gorilla and whale.
I can see it.
And from what I heard, the reason that it was named Gojira was some guy at the Toho like employee staff back in the 50s was just this massive Bishop giant guy, and his nickname on the set was Gojira. Now imagine being named after a giant, having a giant monster be named after you.
I'm gonna name my son Gojira. He's gonna fucking love it.
Anyway, that's all the time I have.
If he doesn't love it, he'll grow up to love it. If he doesn't grow up to love it, I'm gonna beat it into him. Seriously. But
That's all the time we have. Like I said, I thought it was great, and he thought it was great.
I thought it was, yeah.
Well, it was okay.
I'll see it again. And, it's one of those movies you get a bucket of beer and popcorn and hang out with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I wish
But
I'd
yeah,
gotten a bucket of beer.
Don't go into it expecting some like IMAX, Doctor Strange, Avengers, trippy type action-packed shit. It's mostly like with any other Godzilla movie. It's humans talking, maybe about 15 minutes total of monster action, and that's it.
And if you love One Piece, check out the trailer for One Piece Film Gold. I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jayme here doesn't like One Piece or anime for that
I will
matter.
probably look it up later then.
He says that now.
Alright, bye-bye.